All right, what's up, everybody? Just a little video about the knives I carried today. Carried a couple of them, actually. One of them is still in my jeans pocket. Got sweatpants on now because it's late at night and I'm chilling. But this one I have the Buck Model 110. I've been carrying this a lot lately. Polished up those brass bolsters. Gave it a good sharpening the other day, and we're just gonna sit here and strop it while we're here talking about it. Cut a sandwich with this the other day. Nice meatball sandwich that I ate for Scab at Choir Boys Cutlery's little sandwich cutting contest. Got to get an entry in, right? So Buck 110 classic folder. It's really been hanging out with this and using it around the house and cutting what I need to cut with it. But I did not carry this when I went out this evening. Did a few errands with the family, grabbed some food while we were out. I carried on my belt this right here. This is the Almar sear knife. As you can see, it's a big leather. It's a leather belt sheath covered in like a soft canvas camo. Snap opening here. This is an awesome package. Love this knife. This is a big old honkin' folding knife. We'll hold it up here against the Buck 110 in a second, but we got that in here. And also in the back is a sharpening stone to go along with this, as it says SERE, S-E-R-E, survival, evasion, resistance, escape. Might have got those E's mixed up in the abbreviation there, but those are what they stand for. I mean, I'm mixed up the order. I don't know. Can never remember. But this folder is really cool. One of the favorite pieces in my collection. They're highly collectible, especially with that sharpening stone in there. Not many still have this. This knife hasn't been made in over 30 years. It's a big folding knife, old school. It's got the nail nick for opening. Look at that blade. Thick back and then tapers down. This sharp tip. The Almar logo. See if I can get some more light. Tilt it over here. This thing is just awesome. Big bolster here. This is micarta. It's got like a wood grain type of pattern. It's highly polished. It's not a matte, like grippy micarta, but I mean, it's just such a high quality knife. Lock right here. It's pretty solid. It does have a little give if I pull upwards, but nothing when I push down on the blade. So no worries about it closing on my fingers. Do not know if there's a way to date when these were made, if this was from the 1980s or from the early 90s. I think the last year they made this was in 1993, and it came out in 1984, maybe 85 at the latest. Almar worked with Colonel Nick Rowe, who founded the Army Sear School to make a folding survival knife, because a lot of times in situations, soldiers will toss off their webbing, and whatever they may have a larger blade attached to, but this folding knife they could have on the belt of their pants they wear to keep their pants up. Now, I weighed this package once with the knife in the sheath with the stone, and it's like 17 ounces. So this is hefty, heavy. Pretty much opposite of what most folding knives are today in 2025. But let's get that buck knife back out just to give a little size comparison. People think this is a big, heavy knife. Look at it. The Almar Sear dwarfs the buck 110. Get just the blades together. The Almar is a much wider blade and probably close to half an inch longer. I think this is a little over 4 inches, maybe 4 1/4. This is 3 3/4. Super cool. Super cool knife. Brass liners there. The handle isn't overly thick. Let's look at that. I think the buck might be thicker. But feels good in hand. Has this jut out right here. You can put that between these two fingers or choke back here. Just put your index finger on top of there and get your thumb up here for thrusting tasks, or move your fingers up so you can choke up here for finer cutting tasks with this knife. This is made in Seki, Japan. I don't think it'll show up on camera, but it says that down there, Seki, Japan. The steel on this is AM6, from what I have read. Maybe that stands for Almar 6. I don't know. But from what I gather, it is similar to an AUS 6 steel, which knives aren't really made out of anymore. AUS 8 came along, replaced it pretty much. It is a steel that is easily serviced in the field and has decent toughness. And that is what you want for a survival knife. Don't believe me? Almar said so himself. Now, Almar isn't just one of the greatest knife designers of all time. He's got real-world experience. He was a special forces soldier in the early 1960s, maybe even back in the late 50s. I don't know the exact years when he was in the military, but he was in Vietnam. I do know that. He was part of a secret group over there of all Asians. Almar was, his family were Chinese immigrants. Not sure when they came to the United States, but he was Chinese descent. So he's been there, done that, knows what's up, trained with the elite military unit of the time. And this knife was made for the elite military of the 1980s. So it's a really cool piece. Love having it in my collection. This is the biggest version of this knife. You don't like knives that big, you can look around and find a smaller one. They have one, it's like a 3.3, 3.4 inch blade, which is pretty standard when it comes to folding knife blade lengths. And then they have one that is like a 2.9 inch blade for a real smaller size. And this particular model, you know, I mentioned earlier, hasn't been made in over 30 years, but Almar as a brand name still exists to this day. They have newer versions of the Sear folding knife. This is the Sear 2020. It's an assisted opening flipper. This version we're looking at right here is in 8CR 13 MOV steel, which has kind of similar properties to what I talked about before. Serviceable in the field and decent toughness. You know, a lot of people will frown on this steel because, frankly, there are higher end steels that hold an edge longer, and there's tougher steels, but you know, this is a knife that's made to be affordable. This one was super high end when it was first out in the 80s. It was the most expensive folding knife of all time. Well, outside of custom made things anyway. Most expensive production folder. Now, these come in a few different versions as well. Should have brought them all down to show you. Next video, Almar. They have these in different steels. They got D2, S35, VN that are currently available. And this is a great size. It's like a 3.6-inch blade. Awesome, awesome. They also have a 3-inch blade as well. A few different colors, black, green. This is coyote tan. And I love Almar knives. So hopefully you enjoyed this video. The knife I carried today. Knives, I should say, show the buck first. So you take it easy, and we'll see ya on that next video.